Good morning, YouTube. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Traders, welcome. Today we're going to look at our pairs again, do analysis, do top-down analysis, and primarily focus on GU, but we will have a look at EU and AU as well. Have a quick glance. But take note, I do not fully trade EU and AU. I merely peek at them. I mostly trade GU, so your best bet, my best analysis is usually on GU. So just keep that in mind. So starting off on the daily, it's very clear to see that we are ranging, or we're creating this, let's call this triangle formation. We can see price is kind of squeezing in to some point. So definitely, so probably some of you might be more familiar with patterns and stuff. I'm not familiar with patterns. I do not know patterns. So don't comment down and say that's wrong, that's not a wedge or whatever. I don't care. I don't trade patterns, but all I can see is that we're creating lower lows and we're creating high lows. We can see that very clearly. So usually that would result in a impulsive breakout to one or the other side. So maybe you know more than me with regards to patterns, but I don't know. So I'll just trade the liquidity that I see forming and take it from there. So as per usual, the first thing that we do is we mark out the previous highs, the previous lows and previous highs. And then we can clearly see the current range that we are trading within. And we can just take note that on this range, we have a low and a high. And we can see that the wick already traded into the discounted area of this range. Potentially, we could see now an expansion higher towards the upside. I think it's important that we just take note of the previous day's high as well, because that will be then a run on liquidity if price decides to break out. So from a daily point of view, it's clear to see where we have our liquidity. We have it on the downside, the upside, and up there as well. Obviously, this wick as well, but um, it's interesting to see that we're failing to make lower lows, and we're failing to make higher lows. So downtrend, uptrend. So let's see what the lower time frame shows us. On the 1 hour, let's just get everything into proportion. Yesterday was a sideways moving market. We pushed up into this order block that we showed in the weekend live session, and then we also came down and we tap into this area. Let's just call it the demand area, and we're kind of staying in this demand area. We're not moving away from it, so we are ranging on the 1 hour as well. So you can see price is ranging between these two areas. Then we have to take note of something else, which is very key. You can see price reacting off of this imbalance over here. I can just make this the blue that it should be. You can see price reacting off of this imbalance, tapping into, then pushing up higher. So I do expect price to move up high towards this high, and potentially, let's make it more simple, close the target this high as well. So my expectation would possibly for now be for longs today, just because of how we're reacting off of this area of imbalance, rebalancing price, and then potentially pushing higher up. So in the 15-minute, I will be looking for retracements and then continuations further towards the upside. So with the high time frame in mind, knowing that we can go both ways, and then looking at the lower time frame for that confirmation or that indication of what's going to happen, potentially then we can then jump into more concrete anticipations and conclusions. So ultimately, we want to be trading in the direction of the daily. So we want to make sure we trade in the direction of where the daily is most likely to trade to for that day. But sometimes it's just not that clear. We can clearly see now today that the day opened, we traded below, we created this wick, and now we're starting to trade back towards the upside. So the hope will be, or the anticipation will be, to make the pullback and then a continuation further towards the upside. But if price just runs up to this high or this high, and at these areas we then see a reversal pattern for price to maybe break down, see some momentum flip towards the downside, then obviously we will look for shorts to take a deeper retracement down towards the downside, because then most likely price has only reached for the buy side liquidity above those areas, and then has reached its liquidity, filled up, and then ready to drop towards the other side, whether that may be long or short. Yeah, it depends on the situation. So for now, potentially be looking for price to make a pullback and then a further continuation up higher. Just noting that we have this high as well. If we see price run above this high, create some sort of reaction, then we could maybe see a pullback down lower as well. But I'm just noting this 1 hour high could be significant. So I'm just want to move this down towards those wicks, just so clean it up a bit. Let's go to the 15 minutes. And you can see why I clean it up is because then we have this area of this high, this low, this high, and then we see price tapping into that area. We see price push up. So now we can almost already see that this is a potential area where price could trade back into. This push down, this push created a low. We pulled back, created a high, lower. This push back created a lower high, and then we swept the lows over here, over there. So this would be a potential area where we could expect price to potentially return into before continuation is long as well. And we have a decent, well, actually a very poor structure break. What we see price breaking towards the upside and moving higher. So the anticipation would then be to see price make a pullback and then get in on the trade. So a retest, so to speak, and then continuation further towards the upside, ultimately towards this level. Hopefully today, if we could see price trade back up to price level. No, this one, more or less the 137 area around there. So now we're starting to frame up the trade and seeing what we could potentially see happening today. Reacting off of this imbalance for me is key. And towards the upside, we're not reacting off of we're not really reacting off of imbalance or coming off of previous highs. So you can see we're not sweeping previous highs. If we were to be sweeping previous highs, then I would expect price to be more bearish. But as you can see here, this high is intact, and then we trade down. This high doesn't really sweep any significant levels. We trade down. This high stays below this level, doesn't sweep it. But ultimately, as well, what we're not seeing a price making significant lower lows as well, as we saw on the higher time frame as well. So how I'm reading this is now is the price is not intent on going lower because it's not sweeping highs and breaking structure. When price is intent on going lower, you will often see this type of thing. So there's a low, this is the high, and you see a sweep of that high, and then you see an impulsive move down lower. What that suggests is that price is feeling its move by grabbing the liquidity and then breaking structure towards the downside. And then there's more orders left. We get in on the orders and we take the trade further towards the downside. So that's the well-known pattern in this industry that has become well-known. But in this case, I'm not seeing a lot of sweeps before price is actually moving down lower. So that's just for me personally a sign that price is failing. It's losing steam. It's losing liquidity. So because it's not hunting for more liquidity, it's losing. So now we can potentially see in what kind of evidence do we have the price is more intent on going high. So maybe that could be a grab on liquidity and we see an impulsive move up. We see a correction down and we see a more impulsive move up. Then we see a slower move down and we see a more impulsive move up. Sorry, for me, so the 50-minute is starting to shift more bullish. The 50-minute for me now is a sign the price is potentially going to go higher today and trade higher. So that's how I come to the conclusion that we're potentially going to be seeing higher pricing today, and then my bias is currently bullish. And it helps to see that we have bullish momentum here. So we're looking for a pullback and then a further continuation up. So let's just have a quick look at the 5 minutes. So this is the ultimate area I would like to price to see a reaction off of. In this case, because it's such a big area and there's a lot happening, I want to see, I won't be, and it's far away. So this is something that I've been working on. So how do you know when to take an aggressive entry and when to take a confirmation entry? Well, I'm starting to work on this idea that when price is like, I'm not going to say a certain pip range, but let's say 15 to 20 pips away from the entry. Let's see, we have currently 12 pips away. And if you take the center or the middle point of this, the extreme, or 16 pips if we take the extreme area, if we take that area, with 16 pips away. So if price is between 15 and 20 pips away from the zone, I would say we need to look for confirmation entries. But if this was the zone, let's forget about all that's below us. If this was the zone and it is only like between 5 and 10 pips, then I think I can work on the assumption that we can take aggressive entries. Um, Not to say that just enter, but obviously you would look also for some sort of liquidity to form and then to sweep that low, tap into this area, go up, look for your clean structure break. All the basic concepts that we know and apply usually. So that's just something that I'm working on. Might do a video on it later on, but that's nothing yet. But anyway, so this could be an area, but I wouldn't want to buy from this area just because of everything over here. And we did not create a clean higher low. Let's look at the 3 minutes. Just the thing now is what I'm seeing as well is it's kind of aggressively pushing up. So if we potentially see a sweep of this high now, so this is potentially what could happen. We could see a sweep of this high, then tricking sellers to go short, and then when people go short, we react off of something in here, and then we go long. So that's the expectation, the current expectation for me personally. My idea is that we will be bullish as long as we stay above these highs. Lows. As long as we stay above these lows, we are bullish. So currently price is making a real run towards the upside, towards this buy side liquidity above this high. Let's see if it's sustained. I'm expecting it only to react off of this level and then go short, and then potentially afterwards be looking for some long entries. But currently, that's what we need to wait for. Don't go FOMO when you see something like this. Don't go FOMO and just because it's going up. I think okay, I need to enter. And I'm gonna place my stop there, and I'm gonna aim for 20. That's not how it works. You need to enter at the right time and the right place in price. So what we can also do is just know that this is only where Frankfurt opens, and then London open. It's only another hour after, so we still have time. We still have this time frame where we can look for that trade idea. So current 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 situation. Let's just put some text here that you guys know. We want to see price stay above these lows to remain bullish. Make it the same color. Then we can just add a line like this. Okay, so we want to see price stay above these lows. Let's see what happens around the session opening. So remember, the session openings can be quite hectic. If we have a lot of news aligned with the session opening, we will see a lot of movements, but stay calm, wait it out, wait for the storm to pass, and then only look for entry. But this zone, I love the zone. I would really like to take a buy from around this area. So my plan, how I would approach it, I will wait to see price enter, because remember this is the 5 minute, and then I will jump to the 1 minute. So let's jump to the 1 minute mentally, and then what we want to see is we want to see in that zone price reaching into that zone, maybe making a short-term lower high, sweeping the liquidity above the first low, breaking structure above the short-term high, maybe even come back down, full imbalance or something, push up higher, and then only look for that entry. There's a whole pattern that needs to happen for us to be able to take a confirmation high probability trade. Obviously, you can just take a trade as price enters that area, obviously. So all of this we want to see happening in that zone. Obviously, you can take something like this and just say, okay, that's my entry. I know it's going up, and you could work out, and you can get a 1 pip stop loss, and you can just take a 1 to 100 full risk. That's obviously possible, but higher probability, better case scenario would be seeing that confirmation, seeing this type of pattern happening within this area before we take a buy. That way I protect my capital, and I know that if this happens in this area, I can potentially take a high probability trade. If not, then it's going to be low probability and I'm not going to take the trade, and might sit the day on my hands and not take it in trade. So that's just something that you can take note of and just perhaps apply it to your own trading. So now we need to just this was now has been quite a mouthful. So let's quickly now jump towards the other pairs and just have a quick look there as well. I just usually put this off. You see it visible on the 1 minute, the minutes time frame, so that you know the chart is clean and clear. So whenever you jump between the time frames, you know that you only see that which you need to see for that time frame. Anyway, we'll keep it at like that. So definitely looking for these highs to be taken out today. Bullish candle going towards the upside. So that's the idea. So now we just have a quick glance at Aussie dollar. I'm not going to spend too much time. We see the daily pushing bullish. Obviously, we want to see a pullback and then a continuation up higher. If we go to the 1 hour, okay, I wouldn't be even looking at this pair. There's nothing for me in this pair because obviously we need. Well, what we can just have a look at is how price laid up, how price came to this area. We can see we had this one breaking structure, price moving up higher, and price is respecting the bullish order flow, and we see then the price started to make shallower pullbacks, if that's even a word. You would expect price to come down, but it doesn't. It just gives a short pullback. So we would expect price to go there. It doesn't. We would expect price to go there. It doesn't. This is a sign that price is most probably going to do this. So we see a failure to return towards these areas. Just a little pullback, probably news came out or something, and then boom, moves towards the downside. If we were to trade this, maybe some shorts after price traded above. You only want to take, after a move like this, you want to take shorts after it has traded above a significant level, and then only want to see a very clear confirmation, as I showed in the on GU, the example. So for AU, there's nothing for me personally. I know there's people that trade it, but in the community as well. But for me, there's nothing. Okay, so I'm not going to waste more time on this after that move. Probably EU. Let's have a quickly look at EU. So I was calling shorts. Sorry, no, I just bit my tongue. So I was thinking of shorts this weekend when I just glanced over it because we traded above this high, seeing price go lower. It's not a change of character for me or a chuck or anything. For me, that's just a sweep. And I do think price will probably be moving a bit lower. And that's how you can see that GU and EU is not completely in sync at the moment. Usually they would be a bit more in sync than trading in the same direction, but not recently. 3 bearish down closing days. We could maybe expect price to make a pullback and then go lower. But as you can see, I'm really out of my depths of reading EU and A. I'm just doing it because a lot of you asked for it. But for me, this is not really nice price action because we're seeing price made a big push towards the downside. On the 1 hour, it's clearly bearish. Now, it will be interesting to see if we were to switch to bullish, what would need to happen? Well, we will need to not trade below this level. We need to trade keep above it, and then start to break structure towards the upside. So if we start to break above, I can look for something like this. So that's more or less the idea that I would start with. Let's look at the 15-minute then, if we have some more tradable ideas there. Because I'm guessing there's something in this area. Let's go to the 5-minute and just see. So we have these equal wicks. So usually we have a lot of supply, demand, or liquidity in these wicks. So let's just take that wick. So we're reacting off of it, pushing up higher. If we now see price failing to respect the bearish order flow, if we trade below this level now, then I would expect price to continue. But if you start to break above this area, break above, then be looking for long. So everything that I've said for GU, I'm not going to do an in-depth analysis, but everything that I said for GU, apply that same principles and concepts towards the other pairs. So if you follow this channel and you want to keep on following the morning analysis, just know that the main focus is GU. That's just how it is. I'm not, yeah, I'm perfecting my craft and I'm perfecting my analysis, and or not perfecting, but trying to get it as good as possible within reason. And that means for me just to focus on one pair. That's the pair that I'll be focusing on. And if you want to follow me and just follow how I trade GU, then yeah, you have to. If you stick around, then maybe give me a thumbs up or a comment if you would want one day, not this year, but one day, see a masterclass on GU. All my notes and everything that I've gathered in a course content type of thing for GU. Let's see if there's other people that wants to learn GU as well and get good at trading one pair. That's it for me today, guys. A bit of a longer video, but I do think a lot of insights, a lot of key things have been spoken about. Yeah, that's it for me today, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you watched to the end, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And then, yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye.